is up, everyone? In this video, we are going to be going over our Canvas layout briefly, and then we are going to be going over our syllabus. This is our Canvas layout. So we have the section number up top, 49609. We scroll a little bit down and we can see interpersonal communication. We scroll a little bit more down and then there is our syllabus as well as our schedule. And so if we hover over the syllabus or the schedule and we click on them, then the file will open up for you. If we go a little bit further down, we can see assignments that are coming up. Constantly check out the dates and the details for the assignments. Additionally, if you go back up and you look at the right-hand side, there's a little to-do list. Usually when assignments are coming up, it'll go ahead and prompt you as well as a reminder to do that assignment. So just make sure that you're keeping up with the tentative schedule, which is right there, and you're also keeping up with the details, the dates, and then looking at the to-do. So there are just so many different areas that you can look at to see when assignments are due. But of course, you're going to want to also, if you go on our left-hand side, hit the module tab. So every single week, this is very, very important. Every single week, you're going to want to go to modules, and on Monday, you're going to want to look at what is due for the week. I will be sending out emails every single Monday. They're referred to as Happy Monday emails, letting you know also what's coming up, what's due for that week. If there's any changes or any announcements, I'll let you know then. But aside from that, you're going to definitely want to look over our module for this week. As you could see, there's 7 items here to go over. There's our syllabus. Our syllabus is on our homepage as well, but I thought I'd add it to the module. There's our tentative schedule, our guided reading, chapter 1 video, the transactional communication model. That is also a video that I made. And then you have 2 assignments that are due this week, which are the mini activity as well as our first quiz, which is just a syllabus / plagiarism quiz. All right. So every single week you're going to want to look at these. And then the further down you go, the more you'll see week 2, week 3, week 4. They're not posted yet or visible for you all to see, so we're just going week by week by week. So every single Monday, the modules will be available for you before 12 noon. All right, and I'm going to message all of you to let you know when they are available and give you announcements and so on and so forth. All right, so this is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and open up our syllabus. Remember, this is also on our homepage. So it'll prompt just like this. I want to open it up just so it's a little bit bigger for you all to see. Boom. All right, so here's our syllabus. It has all of our course information here. I'm not going to go over everything, but I'm going to go over the information that I would typically go over on day 1 for our class. This is an interpersonal communication class. We also have a course description here, and so we're analyzing the dynamics of 2-person communication process in relationships. We do get into nonverbal communication, we do get into behaviors, conflict, we get into communication strategies. So I do advise that you do get the textbook, which we'll talk about in a second, but this is an interpersonal communication class. There are some presentations in this class, not a lot, not like a public speaking class, and I don't grade you all as if it were a public speaking class, but nonetheless, it is an interpersonal communication class where we are talking about relationships specifically, and we're looking at close relationships that we have, such as family members, such as friends, partners that we have. That's what this class is all about, and we go over specifics throughout the term. Next, we have instructor information. So my name is Cecilia Gutierrez. I prefer being referred to as Cecilia. In your first mini assignment, I ask you what you prefer to be referred to as, just because that's who you are as a person. That's what you want to be referred to as. And of course, I want to respect your wishes because I want my wishes to be respected as well. So my name is Cecilia. I prefer to be referred to by my first name, Cecilia. So if you are emailing me and you're like, hello, instructor, or hello, professor, I prefer to be referred to as hello, Cecilia, comma, and then just say whatever you'd like, okay? So Cecilia, Hours. So normally we are supposed to meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7:30 a.m. to 8:55 a.m. That is the very early time, which I don't mind. I'm actually used to teaching morning classes. I enjoy teaching morning classes. However, for all of you, I know that you are taking other classes, specifically probably like 5 or 6 other classes, which is totally understandable aside from this one college course that you're all taking. But we are going to be a completely online class. So you do not need to meet with me at 7:30 a.m. to 8:55 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays through Zoom. And some of you are like, yes, I don't have to wake up at that time. And others might be like, no, Cecilia, I really wanted to see you. I know, it's always a 50-50. Some students really enjoy the Zoom sessions. Other students are like, nah. But I will be available every single Thursday through Zoom if you do have questions or concerns about anything. And so this will give you all a little bit of time on Mondays when I send out everything to review the material. If you have questions or concerns, you can meet with me on Thursday through my Zoom office hours to discuss anything at all, any questions you have about the course, anything at all. I will send out the Zoom session on Thursdays as well, 15 minutes prior to our Zoom meeting. So if you want to meet with me, cool. If you don't want to meet with me, cool. Just as long as you understand the material and you know what you're doing, okay, great. But if you have questions or concerns, never ever hesitate to email me. Zoom is great. If you want to email me, that's fine as well. But I know some of you prefer that personal one-on-one interaction. And so I would recommend, if you have questions or concerns, come to my Zoom meetings on Thursdays. They're just office hours. The entire class does not need to be there. It's just if you have questions or concerns. All right, so there's that. Moving on, student learning outcomes. So we are going to be talking about models, principles, and misconceptions associated with the communication foundations. We're going to be talking about conflict management. We're going to be talking about ourself. We're going to be talking about our self-concept, identity management. We're going to be talking about gender, culture, ethics. We have so much that we're going over in this course. There's a lot that we're going over in the term. It is extremely conceptual. You will be applying the material. A lot of it is self-reflecting. A lot of it is application through written form. So writing essays, looking at media, analyzing media. And so moving on, we have our required textbook. You will need this for writing your first and third paper specifically. This is one of the only textbooks I personally read as an undergraduate from front to back. Like, this textbook, I promise you, will help you with your relationships. It'll help you understand at least your relationships more in depth. It's not just like, oh, okay, this is what communication is. No, this is conflict management, how you can go about communicating with your loved ones. So I do recommend getting the textbook. You are going to need it for this class. There will be other articles that I do post onto Canvas, and those are completely free, and those will be within the modules as well. If you look at the tentative schedule, it'll tell you exactly when readings should be read. So moving on, required materials. You do need internet access. You need access to your RCC email. You need access to Canvas, and you're going to need some sort of access to some sort of digital audio visual recording device. So your phone, an iPad, a tablet, whatever you have on hand, great. You don't need to go out and buy something new. Whatever you have on hand is perfectly fine for this class. As long as you're able to access the course related material, you're able to submit something, just make sure that you have access to internet and you're able to kind of every single week go over the material and submit the material in a timely fashion. So moving on, we have our college policies. Academic dishonesty, don't do it. Just don't do it. I do put every single thing that is submitted to me, I run through a plagiarism website. Also reading it, it's pretty telling. Like, I can tell, other instructors can tell as well. Just submit your own work. Make sure that you're using quotation marks when you are using information from other platforms, citing your sources. It's very important. Please, 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 please. Moving on, we have dropping and adding the class. It is the student's responsibility to add and drop the class, so there are the dates available for all of you, but I'm not pressuring anybody to take or not to take this class. I think it's a fun class. It's one of the best courses, in my opinion, that I took as an undergraduate student, that I took initially after graduating from high school. So I recommend this class for everyone. So don't drop the class. But I understand if you have a very heavy workload this term, I totally get it. I will not be offended essentially if you don't end up staying in the class, because I know that it can look like a lot of work. So moving on, if you are a student with disabilities, please make sure to reach out to DRC or reach out to me so that we could have the correct accommodations available to you. Additionally, we have our mental health services. Next, we have our mental health services. So we do have this information available for all Riverside Community College students. This is for everyone. They should also be able to do online meetings as well. So if anything, I would recommend going to our college website, reviewing the mental health and psychological services there, just because they are very accommodating, they are extremely helpful, and they're there for us. They're there for all of us. Next, we have our classroom policies. So these are very important. Okay, all of this is actually very important, but we have our classroom policies. I'm briefly going to go over this, and some of it's already kind of what I already discussed. Every single Monday, I'm going to be sending out an email to all of you, but on Thursdays, we also have Zoom office hours. So it's really up to you if you want to email me on Mondays or if you'd prefer to wait until Thursday. However, there are assignments due kind of in between there as well as on Fridays. So just go through the syllabus, go through the tentative schedule. If you have any questions or concerns, we could meet this Thursday at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. When you are emailing me, if you do happen to send me an email, just know that it might take 24 to 48 hours for me to respond. So just know that I'm not just sitting there looking at your email and thinking, I'll email them whenever. No, I do see your emails. I will respond back as soon as I possibly can, especially the first couple of weeks. I do kind of get quite a bit of emails for students who want to add the class. I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I want to be there for you as soon as I possibly can be, but just know I am teaching 7 classes. I'm teaching 7 classes, 3 at RCC, 3 at Cal State San Bernardino, and then 1 at Mount San Jacinto College. So I am quite busy, but that doesn't mean that I don't care or that I will not be there for you. Just know that. Just email me or schedule a Zoom meeting with me and we can talk one-on-one. All right, so then there's some information in regards to email etiquette. There's just a bit of information. I give this for all of my classes just because I'm like, hey, who knows, you might need this and it might be somewhat helpful for some students. Cool, there's that. Every Monday, you're going to get an email from me. I'm going to say, hey, how y'all doing? It could be in an email kind of format, or it can also be in a video format as well. It can go both ways. I do suggest, though, that you do log into Canvas once a week. It is necessary that you are logging into Canvas regularly, and I would recommend on Mondays just so you can see what the week kind of entails, and you can also get any updates or announcements as well. And so just make sure that your Canvas announcements are linked to your email so that it's not just being posted to Canvas every single Monday, but it's also being sent to your email as well, so that you are getting those notifications promptly and you're able to do the assignments. And just know I'm not going to make anything due earlier rather than later. I'm never going to be like, oh, well, now you have this due. No, these assignments will have been up for quite some time. Sometimes I will remind students specifically and be like, hey, don't forget to turn this in. But don't count on that. Just make sure that you're on it, you're looking at the to-do list, and so on and so forth. Next, we have digital participation policy. Again, signing in once a week, very important. If you do not sign in this week, and if you do not turn in the syllabus quiz, you will be dropped from the class. Makeup work, I do not accept any late work, and I do not accept any other type of work. So if you, for instance, were asking, hey, can I get extra credit or can I do this other assignment? No. The answer is no, I don't take any late work, so please make sure, again, that you're looking at the to-do list. We're going over the tentative schedule. We're going over all of those because every single week there is something or some things due every single week. Moving on, we have grading. Grades are non-negotiable, but I am willing to talk about grades. We cannot talk about grades through email, but we can talk about grades through Zoom. Email me and just schedule a specific time to go over it, just because during office hours, for instance, there may be students coming in and out of the office hours. I don't want other students to be listening in on your grade or details about you or your grade. So we do need to schedule a separate time to meet through Zoom, so not on those Thursdays, but we could schedule other times. And if you want to talk about other things aside from just your grade, like maybe an assignment, and you can't meet on Thursdays at 8 a.m., email me, let me know, and we could schedule a different time. Next, communication with the instructor. We kind of already went over this, but just make sure that you're using your RCC email, and I would prefer that you email me through Canvas just because it gives me 2 separate notifications. And then digital recording, because you are taking a communication course, just know that other students as well as myself will have access to your videos. So other students in the class are going to be able to watch your presentations. And then class flow. This class is asynchronous, which we talked about at the very beginning, meaning that we do not meet at these designated times up here. We do not meet from 7:30 a.m. to 8:55 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. We do not do that. I post everything on Monday. Y'all can go over it whenever you'd like, whenever you have availability to do that. Submit the assignments when it says that it needs to be submitted, and you are good to go. All right, so there is all of that bit of information. Next, we're getting into the assignments. So this entire class is out of 600 points, and you can kind of see the distribution of points on this page, which is page 5. So we first have our identity presentation, which is already posted for you all to review, as well as the peer responses. That's part of the presentation. And so that's already available for all of you. So make sure that you do review that, because that is due next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. Second, we have different discussion board posts, and they all relate back to course-related material as well as your textbook, and you will be using in-text citations from your textbook within the discussion board posts. So again, make sure that you get your textbook as soon as possible. Following that, we have 12 discussion board peer responses. It sounds like a lot. It's not a lot. Y'all are going to be responding to whatever discussion board posts I give, and then you're going to responding back to my prompt. You're going to go through, you're going to read other students', and then you're going to respond to theirs. And so for every discussion board post, you have to go back through and read 2 other students' and then respond back to theirs. So that's all it is. So there's 6 discussion board posts. Usually they're every other week, and then you post, and then you respond back to 2 peers. That's all that is. We have 3 papers throughout the term. The first is the self-concept paper. The second is nonverbal communication research paper. And then the third is the relational development paper. So your self-concept paper is all about you and who you believe yourself to be. All right. So that's just like a brief description. It's only worth 30 points. The second paper is a research-centered paper where you are incorporating scholarly articles and outside sources, and then you have to give a nonverbal presentation. So the paper number 2 and the nonverbal presentation, it's not due all at once, but you can't do the nonverbal presentation without doing the research paper, and you can't get credit for the nonverbal presentation without doing the research paper and getting credit for it as well. So you get to choose a concept that's related to nonverbal communication, like facial expressions or paralanguage. You get to choose a concept, and then you write a nonverbal communication research paper on it, and then you give a presentation on what you wrote about. That's all that is. Lastly, you have a third paper, and that's the relational development paper, and that's all about you again. So very similar to the first presentation, where the first paper, where it's all about you. The third paper is all about you again, where you are talking about a relationship in your life, or you are analyzing a film that incorporates an interpersonal relationship. And then you're incorporating course-related materials such as Knapp's relational model, conflict management, and so on and so forth within your papers. So that's what those 3 papers are. Next, we have 13 quizzes. Essentially, when there is a chapter that is supposed to be read that week, you have a quiz at the end of the week. So you have that whole week, or if you're up to date on the readings and you're doing them beforehand, you'll already have the content. There's already information on the modules also related to the content. So it's important that you're reviewing all of that information. You're also reading the chapters, so then when you take the quizzes, you are successful, and then you also have exams. The quizzes are also helpful in preparing for the exams. There will be similar questions, not identical questions, but the quizzes will help you for the exam. And so there's 2 exams. There's a midterm, there's a final, and then lastly, we have mini activities, which are almost every single week as well. And they go hand in hand with the chapter readings as well as with the chapter quizzes. So the mini assignments are just you demonstrating to me that you understand the course related material, and the majority of the assignments are due at the end of the weeks. So they're usually due on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Nothing else is really due at the beginning of the week except like the peer responses. So majority of the work at the end of the week, so you have the whole week to work on everything. And so here is the grading scale, just for all of you who kind of want to see it. It's just a visual representation. At the end of the term, this will be very, very important. And so if we go down, here's just kind of like a breakdown of what I just discussed, and it gives you a little bit more information on each of the assignments. But if you have any other questions about any of these, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. We will be going over each one of these in depth when I go over the prompts, but that's basically it. That's all this class entails, right? So now that it's broken down, hopefully it kind of gives you a little bit more of a peace of mind. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything related to the syllabus, anything in relation to this class, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. We can always have a Zoom session, we could always have a Zoom meeting and talk about whatever concerns that you do have. And also with our first mini assignment, I do ask you, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have any worries, let me know there, and I can always reach out to the entire class and talk about any uncertainties and resolve any questions, because more than likely if you have a question, then other students probably have similar questions. And so I want to go ahead and get all of those kind of out of the way the first week and just slowly pace forward. So again, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I hope this was somewhat helpful. This is kind of how I would normally go over it, but I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.